Good morning, folks. Today is Saturday, August the 30th. It's been a long, hard summer due to heat, lack of rain. Thought I'd give you an update this morning, especially on the Homestead tomatoes. Let me give you just a little bit of information this morning on tomatoes. And I knew this, but I got it confirmed by a county agent a few county down there. We're like a lot of y'all. We have had excessive heat. A lot of 102, 104, 106 degrees days. We've got rain yesterday, which was Friday. I've already had 1.5 inches or more rain, and it's cloudy and raining today. So just wanted to give you an update on everything. But something you need to know about tomatoes is that, and many plants will, my county agent said they take a siesta. And that is absolutely right. The plants will live through it if you give them water, but they shut down pretty much anything over 100 degrees. As you know, tomatoes don't pollinate above 75 degrees at night, and especially 95 to 100 degrees during the day, you get very few flowers that will pollinate. Most of them won't even put a flower on. I have noticed that with my green beans and purple hull peas this year. And they, they like heat. I got a few purple hull peas, but the heat was so much this year, even though I'm watering every 3 days, they just didn't put on much. I have not picked a green bean yet. They have been flowering on and off for 3 weeks or more, maybe 4. But as soon as they get to be about 1 inch long, they fall off due to the heat. Now with the cooler temperatures, it is possible I can fertilize them and maybe get them to reflower and do something. Same thing with okra, and as you know, okra came from Africa, and it likes hot weather. And my plants are healthy, they've just not been flowering, but I noticed today, I think it's 70, 72 degrees this morning, and they'll be flowering now. I'll still get some, but let's get back to the tomato thing. Really disappointed in the Homestead tomato. It is healthy, it's growing good. I'm not going to go down taking pictures this morning, but in some ways it outperformed what I thought, other ways not. Let me show you one that I picked. This is 1.5 pounds tomato. This is the Homestead. What I dislike about these, and I've never grown these before, is the amount of core and cracking you get on them. There's one. There's just an average one, not too bad. But what you get is a lot of splits up here at the top. Just a lot of splits. Due to the heat, they're not ripening. I didn't think they would ever ripen. They sat there for days and days and days without getting any color, and then within 2 days I had over 100 pounds ready to pick. But because they will really split bad right here at the top, this cracking, and with rain coming, I knew that they would get bottom cracking from excessive rain, and I've seen some of that. Here's another one, that's almost a pound. Look at the inconsistency on the color. Now that is very possibly just part of the nature of this tomato. You're going to get a lot of wastage. I've eaten some that got ripe enough to eat. They were fair, but I'm telling you, from all the tomatoes I've grown over the last 10 years, nothing tastes better than the Florida 7514. Next year I won't grow anything but the 7514. It's what my customers like. It is a good eating tomato. I put it in some grocery stores. They just brag about it. It's nothing I've done. It's the nature of the tomato. It's an F1 hybrid, and I really wanted to give some of these heirlooms a chance, but and the Homestead was really talked up. That the review on it was really good for a canning tomato, and it likely is, but when you can up a Florida 7514, you've never seen such beautiful tomato juice or canned tomatoes in your whole life, and with great flavor. Now I've also got a few of my BHN 589. We put 3 rows of them, 3 70-foot rows in the tunnel this year to give them a try. They were recommended as a great high tunnel tomato, and let me tell you the pluses. They are a beautiful plant, they grow well, they put on lots and lots of foliage. which will hide the tomatoes from the hot sun. I was pleased with that. They said a pretty good amount of fruit, but the same thing, they would not ripen. Now I realize this is a year when it's going to be hard to judge some tomato characteristics due to the high heat, but the Florida 75 was consistent in setting fruit and ripening, especially the ripening throughout all the high heat. I started picking the end of June. I had to look at one of my other videos. I'm thinking 25th or 28th, right in there. I started picking quite a few of the 75-14 and have done throughout this whole season up until now. They have ripened very consistently. The BHN 589 did not. It's a pretty tomato. Not much cracking. I like that a lot. Here's another one, just a little cracking. That's not a disaster. Here's one, you know, not really a bad tomato, but I've never seen so much splitting on the bottom. We call those water splits. Now I probably go a little excessive on the watering so that I don't get any blossom end rot. And this tomato obviously did not like that, but the Florida 75-14, I had almost zero splitting, almost none. I've wasted some pretty good tomatoes. Sometimes you pick 3 or 4 tomatoes and 3 of them are split. So the BHN 589 is out next year. We'll be growing nothing but the Florida 75-14. I have sold more tomatoes this year than I have in my 10 years of growing tomatoes. Actually made some profit this year. Really looking forward to next year. Just think 11 months I'll be doing this again. We are at the end of the season except for the Homestead. If I can drum up a few more customers from them and they don't mind me picking a little early and letting the tomatoes ripen, I'll probably be selling some of them. One of the things I can say that's a little odd about the Florida 75-14, and I think with every tomato you've got to learn their characteristics, but a determinate tomato, the thing about a determinate is it's the name. At some point they determine to quit growing. An indeterminate grows all season long. Now on the Florida 75-14, when you've gotten 3/4 of the crop off of there, all of a sudden the leaves just started turning colors like and you're thinking, well, I've got a disease or nutritional. That's not it at all. They have just decided to start shutting down and the life of that tomato is over. The BHN's 589 is a lot like that. I've picked a lot of tomatoes off of it and it's still got the top of it is still beautiful and green, and the midsection is not too bad. A little bit of discoloration now as we're getting towards the end of the season, but I was really worried that I was doing something wrong on the Florida tomato, and I am not. That's just the characteristic of it. Once you know that, then you don't get excited and start throwing a bunch of fertilizer, a bunch of nutrients, a bunch of sprays on it. You just leave the thing alone, pick every tomato you got, and go on and get ready for next year. So I just want to give you an update on this. Leave a comment below, especially if you've had a hard summer. And one of the things I can say, the fact that with the high heat, not many folks in my area have been able to raise tomatoes. The thing about the high tunnel, I keep stressing, is it's a controlled environment. And I put a shade cloth on it, 47% shade cloth. That keeps those UV rays off that tomato. And so, you know, I got a little burning on some of them, especially where they were open close to the end and the shade cloth didn't really cover them very good. But in general, I just had one of the best crops I've ever had, so I'm really excited about next year. So, hope this is some help to you. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.